How many of you wish you could control the weather? I think we all do, right? Like we look at today and we go, man, it is like foggy and cold. Actually, I think it's kind of cool, but there's other people who will not like this. They like it to be warm and sunny this morning. Then there's those who want snow already. We all want to control the weather. If we think about the disciples, there's a story about them in the New Testament when they are on the Sea of Galilee and a storm comes up and it just rocks their boat. Like it really does, to the point where they are terrified. And Jesus wakes up. He's in the back of the boat. He wakes up and looks at the storm and says, "Be still." And the wind just goes away. And the disciples are now, in some ways, they're more messed up by Jesus than the storm, because they look at Jesus and go, who is this that can say this to the wind and it stops? That's like the ultimate authority, that you can actually tell weather what to do. Well, we read about that in Psalm 147, verses 15 and 18. It says, he sends his orders to the world. How swiftly his word flies. In other words, when God says it, it happens. He sends the snow like white wool. He scatters frost upon the ground like ashes. He hurls the hailstones. Who can stand against his freezing cold? Then at his command it all melts. He sends his winds and the ice thaws. God is in control of the weather. With that in mind, I think we can trust him with everything else too. If God can tell the clouds when to form and when to rain and when to hail, if he can tell the clouds when to snow and control the temperature and all those things, then obviously he can take care of things in our life as well. He has that much authority. And when he says it, how swift are his words. That's a cool thing too. When God says it, it happens. We can trust him, and that's a cool thing. We can trust him to act, but we can also trust that what he says happens, because he's a good father. So this Sunday, if you're going to church, that's great. If you're not going to church, find a church. That's awesome too. But when you're worshiping God, keep that in mind. God's not limited by anything. He's not limited by our past. He's not limited by the mistakes we make. God can make things happen in our life. He's that good. He can control the weather. He can control anything. So trust God.